Relying on love. Oh, I'm already up to that. Well, that's okay. Go back. Relying on love. This month, we're asking the question, what would I love? What would I love? This is an interesting question, isn't it? How many times do we ask ourselves that? How many times do we ask us? We ask a lot of other people, what would you love? What would you love to do? What would I love? More often, we ask ourselves, what should I do? What can I afford to do? What will people think of me if I do this or this? What do people expect me to do? Isn't that true? Don't we ask ourselves those questions? But that's not what we're doing here this month. We're focusing on the power of living from, to, and as love. And I love how much we are loved and supported by the universe. Last Monday, a friend sent me a beautiful Rumi quote that was on Twitter. And it was actually on Twitter last Sunday. So I thought this was interesting that I'm doing a whole series on love. This was on Twitter after my talk, right? And we talked about what would we love last week. And so the quote is this: let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray. And I love Rumi. I don't know how many of you read Rumi or are familiar with him, but I love Rumi. So I just find it such an affirmation that the world is in alignment with what we're doing too. I just thought that was great. Confirmation via Twitter. We've made it to social media. I think that's pretty cool. So then I came across this picture on the internet. You become what you do. Do what you love and you will become love. I thought that was beautiful as well. And they're just both beautiful demonstrations that we really are on the right track this month. So we're going to take a different direction from last week and in fact turn our whole what would we love question around just a little bit and ask, what can we expect from love? Jack and Cornelia Addington in their book, Your Needs Met, I don't know if any of you have the little golden book, Your Needs Met, but it's quite, I think it's out of print now, but it was one of the first books we ever got. It was really great, filled with treatments and affirmative prayers. And they wrote, there is no problem on earth that love cannot heal. Love is the answer to every human need. And Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind wrote, love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. It is the very reason for our being. No one can swing out into the universal without love, for the whole universe is based upon it. And those are pretty bold statements, aren't they? And if they are true, then we should be able to really rely on love, right? Shouldn't we be able to do that? So let's look at this. In his book, The Path to Love, Deepak Chopra offers some straightforward, beautiful words on how we can rely on love. He said, love is meant to heal. Love is meant to renew. Love is meant to make us safe. Love is meant to inspire us with its power. Love is meant to make us certain without doubt. Love is meant to oust all fear. Love is meant to unveil immortality. Love is meant to bring peace. Love is meant to harmonize differences. Love is meant to bring us closer to God. I particularly love that last one because when that last one happens, when we're closer to God, all of the others follow. All of the others follow. The last one is the foundation of them all. And in order to be brought closer to God and then experience the healing, renewal, safety, inspiration, certainty, and a realization of our immortality and peace and harmonizing of differences, we must first open our hearts to love. More specifically, we must open our hearts to God's love. Remember Holmes's words when he says, no one can swing out into the universal without love, for the whole universe is based upon it. And God's love is trying to get our attention all the time, but we have often been blinded by either what we've been told about God or by our human experiences with love that wasn't really love. Anybody ever say, I'm doing this because I love you? Didn't really feel like it, right? And we sure don't want to experience an infinite version of that, right? That doesn't sound good to me either. But God's love is always trying to get our attention. I love this little story. Before listening to the little one's chest, a nurse, I love my nurse stories because we have a nurse here. A nurse on the pediatric ward would plug the stethoscope into their ears and let them listen to their own hearts. Have your doctors ever done that? Let them listen to my doctors did that. I remember that. And their eyes would always light up with awe. But she never got the response equal to 4-year-old David's. She placed the disc over his heart and she said, "Listen, what do you suppose that is?" He drew his eyebrows together as if, in a little puzzled line, and he looked up. And he was lost in the mystery of the strange tap, tap, tapping deep in his chest. And then his face broke out with a wondrous grin and he said, "Is that God knocking?" I love that. The love of God is always knocking. It is always available. In Revelation 3:20 we read, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him." I found this story some time ago, and I think it was in a Chicken Soup for the Soul, and it might have been in the Science of Mind magazine. I read so many things, but I thought that this was a perfect story. I saved it. And I think it's true, but I don't know exactly whose story it is. But it's a story about God's love and as well as God's sense of humor. So it goes like this. The woman writes, "Consumed by my loss, I didn't notice the hardness of the pew where I sat. I was at the funeral of my dearest friend, my mother. She'd finally lost her long battle with cancer. The hurt was so intense. I found it hard to breathe at times. Always supportive, Mother clapped loudest at my school plays, held boxes of tissues while listening to my first heartbreak, comforted me at my father's death, encouraged me in college, and prayed for me my entire life. When Mother's illness was diagnosed, my sister had a new baby, and my brother had recently married his childhood sweetheart, so it fell on me, the 27-year-old middle female child." This is my 26-year-old middle female child. So don't worry about this. This is not a true story for me. "Without entanglements, to take care of me. I counted it an honor. What now, God?" I asked, sitting in church. My life stretched out before me as an empty abyss. My brother sat stoically with his face toward the altar while clutching his wife's hand. My sister sat slumped against her husband's shoulder, his arms around her as she cradled their child, all so deeply grieving. No one noticed that I sat alone. My place had been with our mother, preparing her meals, helping her walk, taking her to the doctor, seeing her to her medication, reading the Bible together. Now she was with God. My work was finished and I was alone. I heard a door open and slam shut at the back of the church. Quick footsteps hurried along the carpeted floor. An exasperated young man looked around briefly, and then he sat down next to me. He folded his hands and placed them on his lap. His eyes were brimming with tears. He began to sniffle. "Sorry I'm late," he whispered to me, although it wasn't necessary. After several eulogies, he leaned over and commented, "Why do they keep calling Mary by the name of Margaret?" "Because that was her name. Margaret, never Mary. No one ever called her Mary," I whispered, and I wondered why this person couldn't have sat on another side of the church. He interrupted my grieving with his tears and fidgeting. Who was this stranger anyway? "No, that isn't correct," he insisted, as several people glanced over at us, whispering. "Her name is Mary. Mary Peters." "That isn't who this is," I said to him. "Isn't this the Lutheran church?" he replied. "No, the Lutheran church is across the street." "Oh," he said. "I believe you're at the wrong funeral, sir." The solemnness of the occasion mixed with the realization of the man's mistake bubbled up inside of me and came out as laughter. I cupped my hands over my face, hoping it would be interpreted as sobs. The creaking pew gave me away. Sharp looks from the other mourners only made the situation seem more hilarious. I peeked at the bewildered, misguided man sitting next to me, and he was laughing too. Excuse me. As he glanced around, deciding that it was too late for an uneventful exit. I imagined Mother laughing. At the final amen, we darted out of the door and into the parking lot. "I do believe that we'll be the talk of the town," he smiled. He said his name was Rick, and since he'd missed his aunt's funeral, he asked me out for a cup of coffee. That afternoon became a lifelong journey for me and this man who attended the wrong funeral, but was in the right place. A year after our meeting, we were married at the country church. This time, we both arrived at the same church right on time. In my time of sorrow, God gave me laughter. In place of loneliness, God gave me love. This past June, we celebrated our 22nd wedding anniversary. Whenever anyone asks us how we met, Rick tells them, "Her mother Margaret and my Aunt Mary introduced us, and it's truly a match made in heaven." Cute. So remember what I said earlier, that love is meant to heal. You might say, I want to heal my anger toward my father. I want to heal the love I didn't get as a child. I want to heal the love I couldn't give to my children when they needed it. I want to heal my body. Love is meant to renew. I want to feel renewed enthusiasm for my work. I want to renew my zest for life. Love is meant to make us safe. I want to feel safe with other people. I want to feel safe to show my emotions. Love is meant to inspire us with its power and make us certain without doubt or fear. I want to have the confidence in myself and in my abilities. Love is meant to unveil immortality. I want to trust in that this leg of my soul's journey is just a small portion that is eternal. Love is meant to bring us peace. I want to sleep in peace and wake in joy. I want to live from a place of serenity and calm. Love is meant to harmonize differences. I want to heal the relationship with my fill in the blank. My mother, my father, my best friend, my sister. You know, I started thinking about that. Who would I like to heal my relationship with? And I lost my sister when she was 43, back in 1998, I think. We never really got along. She was 4 years older, and we just went different pathways. But that is a relationship I'd like to heal, and I think I can still do that even though she's not here with me. It's a relationship I'd like to heal because I see the beautiful relationships that my daughters have as sisters, and wow, that is such a healing emotion that I get from that, so I know that it can go beyond. Love is meant to bring us closer to God. I want to know, to feel, and experience the presence of divine love washing over me. So what do you want from love? What do you want from love? Deepak Chopra in A Path to Love writes, he suggests that we write it down, and then he says, even if your list, he says, make a list of what do you love? What do you want from love? Even if your list strikes you as unrealistic or wildly overblown, I want you to make a bargain with love, a soul bargain, that any and all of these things will be your experience. So once you're satisfied that you have detailed everything you want, and don't be afraid to ask for too much, the commitment is already made. The commitment is made. When you make it, when you put it on paper, the commitment is made and the bargain is complete. Put away that paper for safekeeping. Store it someplace. You have announced to your soul, this is what Chopra writes, you have announced to your soul what you want, and it is up to love to respond. Love is intelligent and aware. It knows you better than you know yourself. Therefore, it has the power to fulfill its side of the bargain. Rest easy and be attentive over the next few months.
Yeah, really.
God calling. Don't dwell on your list or try to make it come true. There is nothing you need to do except this. When you feel love, act on it. Speak your heart. Be truthful and remain open. This is how you will align yourself with love. And at the end of a few months, take out your list and read it over. Ask yourself how much of it has come true. I won't say that you will be amazed at what love has actually done, although you really might be, but you will certainly be surprised. Actually, asking for love is one of the most difficult things for anyone to risk. But by risking it first in your heart, you open a door that never closes, and it will never close again. New Thought author Emmett Fox once said, there is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough love will not heal, no door that enough love will not open, no gulf that enough love will not bridge, no wall that enough love will not throw down, no wrong that enough love will not set right. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how helpless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. If only you will love enough, you will be the happiest, most powerful being in the world. We can rely on it, and so it is.
Jesus.